Okay, post-snap mechanics. So we talk about pre-snap, being aligned, all right, and being in a good stance, and then post-snap, what we're doing with the ball, okay? So we always talk about, and my players will hear me say this over and over and over, catch it out front and keep it out front. So anytime we're meshing, a lot of times quarterbacks have bad habits of they'll go, whatever it is, clap or set go, catch the ball, and then they want to bring it into their body, and then they want to bring it back out for the mesh. Well, that creates a really tough read for the running back, because the reality is, in the read option game, the quarterback's eyes are not on the ball carrier. They should be downfield on the read, whether it's the defensive end, inside backer, the overhang, whoever it is. So if I'm bringing that ball into my chest and then trying to stick it back out, I'm really playing games with the running back as far as his ability to get his chest over the ball. So we talk about catching the ball out front and keeping the ball out front. So I'm really presenting a consistent target for that running back then to be able to take his steps and get his chest over the ball, okay? I always talk about, again, I always come back to baseball. And so coaches that have played or coached baseball know what a crow hop is. When you feel the ball, crow hop is loading up your weight to your back foot and then being able to transition and throw. So when I catch this snap out front and I think about keeping it out front, when I open up to ride and read, I think about a crow hop. So my crow hop is catch the ball, I'm going to flip, I'm going to load my weight back, and I'm going to be ready to ride that ball and transition my weight to my front foot. So we think about a crow hop. I'm always going to step and load with my foot that's near the running back. So if the running back's offset to my right, I'm going to catch it out front, keep it out front. I'm going to step and crow hop with my near foot. If the running back was on the other side, now I'm going to catch, I'm going to crow hop, and I'm going to load my weight on my back foot. Okay? We always tell our quarterbacks to draw a line with your toes. So when I take that crow hop, if we're running inside zone, our quarterback's aiming point is the near ass cheek of the center, the play side ass cheek of the center. So if we were running inside zone to the left, he'd be aiming at the left ass cheek of the center. So when I take my crow hop, I'm trying to come around and I want my toes. If you put a ruler and line it up with my toes, that ruler should point directly at the center's play side ass cheek, okay? It changes. If we go outside zone, now I'm going to point and draw my line at the inside hip of the tight end, okay? But we always want to draw that line of the running back's aiming point with our toes, okay? The last thing we want to do is on inside zone is to not square up. The running back's getting square shoulders downhill. My feet aren't squared, and now I have to reach to keep that ball. That's when the ball goes to the ground, okay? Now, again, next step, we talk about the ball. Catch it out front, keep it out front. I take my crow hop, I load my weight. The next thing we're thinking about doing is I want to push that ball back to my far shoulder, okay? So a lot of times you'll see, even at the college level, guys will catch the ball, and they'll just pivot around, and the ball's right in the middle. Well, there's no ride then. There's no ride and read. So we really want to get that ball connected to the running back the best way we can. So the way we do that is catch it out front, keep it out front, crow hop, and I'm trying to push that ball back to my back shoulder. Now that ball can get connected, and I can ride and read. And the longer that ball's connected, the more time I have to make my decision. So we talk about riding and reading from my back shoulder to my front shoulder, okay? One of the big things that I talk about is as we ride that ball, my weight transition. So we talk about crow hop, right? Baseball, you field it, you load your weight, and then you transition to throw. It's the same thing. Catch it out front, keep it out front, crow hop, and now as I ride, my weight's loaded. As I ride that ball, I'm transitioning my weight to my front foot. So now if I get a pull read, I can transition and push off that front foot to accelerate out, okay? My big coaching point, and anybody that played for me at Saguaro High School over the years will tell you when we talk about our mesh, is heart to heart, not dick to dirt, okay? Heart to heart means as I catch that ball and I crow hop and I push it back, I want that ball to be even with my heart, okay? It's slightly below parallel, okay? Parallel's up here. I don't want that mesh being in the running back's throat. But if that ball drops low, we call this a dick to dirt mesh, all right? It's really hard for the running back who's running his track to get over. That ball's low, now there's a really good chance that ball goes into the ground, okay? So we always tell them, heart to heart, not dick to dirt, okay? And you'll see some of these on the film I'm gonna show you, all right? Now, we do all those things. We do them every single day, so it's muscle memory. So I don't have to think about the U and the stance and the stagger and the thumbs touching it. That just becomes natural. And then I catch it out front, I keep it out front, I crow hop, I load my weight, I push it to my back shoulder, and I can ride and read. The reason we do that is so I'm not thinking about it, my eyes can go to my read. So if I'm reading the backside end, bam, I catch it, my eyes go right to him. I'm not thinking about anything else because this is muscle memory. I can read him based on what he's doing, okay? We always talk about ride and decide. The ride starts not on my time, but it starts when the running back's chest touches my hand. So if I push that ball back, the running back gets over the ball. As soon as his chest touches my hand, now I can start my ride. If all of a sudden I just flip around and start riding it, he's never over the ball, bad things happen. So make sure the ride and decide doesn't start until the running back's chest hits my hand, okay? We always want to make our decision. Even if I get a decision right now that it's a give, I don't want to make my final decision until I get the ball to my front shoulder on my right into side, okay? So I see it's a give here. I'm going to ride, give, and then I'm going to carry out my fake, okay? If I get a pull read right here, that's fine. I'm still going to ride, pull, disconnect, pull and replace, okay? Anytime we give, we're going to carry out a fake for 5 yards. And I stole this, a really good coach named Larry Feckenheier from Cactus High School, was one of the innovators way back in the early 2000s of running the 4-wide zone read spread offense. And they did a phenomenal job anytime it was a give of carrying out a fake. And he always had his players grab the V of the neck of the jersey and tug on it. So they would give it, they'd take off, they'd grab the V of their neck and tug, and run. And it always looked like they had that ball high and tight, all right? Then when they did pull it, they had that same high and tight, wrist above elbow, 5 points of pressure, and it looked the same. So you got to be consistent, but we want to carry out a fake for 5 yards, all right? If we get a pull read, we're always thinking about pulling it. When we disconnect, it's got to be violent and sudden. So if I'm ride, pull, it's got to be violent and sudden, and I'm going to replace the read or the MN on line of scrimmage, okay? That would be a zone read or a GT counter read. Okay, so we're going to talk about a couple of the different styles of mesh that we do, all right? The first one is going to be, we call it a downhill mesh. So this would be inside zone. This would be our GT counter read, okay? So we make all of our quarterback footwork and running back footwork the same for any of our downhill meshes. So that way, you're not having a different mesh for inside zone, a different mesh for GT, a different mesh for power. It's all the same. So it's either a downhill mesh or it's a flat outside track mesh, okay? So this one, we're going to talk about a downhill mesh. Everything's the same, okay? So when we go through this, catch it out front, keep it out front. Crow hop, all right? Step with my near foot to the running back. Ball pushes back. I'm going to draw my line, all right, with my toes. So if it's inside zone, again, I'm drawing my line at the center's play side ass cheek, all right? Push the ball to my back shoulder. Heart to heart, not dick to dirt. Ride into side, make my read at my front shoulder. All the things that we just talked about, okay? If we're reading inside zone or GT, we're reading the MN on the line of scrimmage, okay? And so you'll see some meshes right here. So this is how we practice. Again, like I said, inside zone, dart, all right? GT read, anytime we're reading the backside and men on the line of scrimmage, this is how we drill it, okay? So this drill tape right here is good, bad, and ugly. So I want you to see so we can talk through some different looks. So this is our 10-minute mesh period every day, and this was a pre-spring ball little workout. So this wasn't actually from a practice, but it allowed us to put the drone up in the air. And every time I do a clinic presentation, I always talk about the value of having drones to film practice at the high school level. You get great film. So we've got all of our quarterbacks, young guys, old guys, our returning starting quarterback, our returning starting running back, and then some young guys that haven't done this. So you'll see some different things that we can talk through. But this is our base alignment. Here's our quarterback's coach right here, snapping the ball, and here's me, and we're working on reading the first level. So I'm the end man on line of scrimmage, and I'm giving our quarterback some different reads, okay? You can look at his stance, all right? Now, this is, again, back when we were going heels at 5, but this is the best way to do this, and I'm not telling you anything you guys don't know. Snap the ball on a yard line so you can really get good visuals when you film it, okay? So we were heels at 5 again. We pushed that back as the years went on to toes at 5, all right? You can see he's got his thumbs touching, arms slightly bent. Running back is 2 yards wide. Oh, let me go back. He's 2 yards wide, toes on heels, okay? And all we're going to do right now is simulate an inside zone read, okay? So we teach our quarterback. He's going to open up. He's going to crow hop. He's going to draw the line with his toes to the center's play side ass cheek. Running back's going on the catch, all right? And we can get more into that. I'm talking more about him right now, but he's going to go on the catch, run his track, square shoulders downhill. Now you'll see quarterback push the ball back, all right? Don't start riding the ball until the running back's chest is over. So you can see he starts riding this a little early. We want to be really connected, all right, before we start riding it. But he's doing a good job of drawing his line, all right? He's got it pushed back. You can see his eyes are on the read, and I'm going to give him looks. I'm going to either chase the dive, all right? I'm going to play upfield and box it, or I'm going to run right at the mesh point, all right? And I'm going to give him some different looks. Now, if I tackle the dive, he's going to pull and replace me, okay? So we'll watch this. He's riding and reading. I'm going to tackle the dive, ride. Now, watch where he makes his decision. Make your decision at the front shoulder. Even if you see right away that it's going to be a pull read, make your decision at the front shoulder, pull and replace.